Hello everyone out there in cyberspace. Rusty back with another edition of my vlog. This is my second official entry, and I wanted to do something a little bit different than what I did the first one, and talk more or less about one of the interests that I have, not just something that happened recently in the news. Well, it did happen recently, but it has more of an impact on my life and something that I want to get more news and information about. And it deals with the Caroline Colorama. Now, the Caroline Colorama is an event that is held every weekend, well, not every weekend, once a year on the first weekend, in which Sunday is the first Sunday in October, and that happened to be this past weekend. Basically, it's a horse ride. People come with their horses over the weekend. They take part in several trail rides, and there are a couple other events as well: a craft fair, Buck Skinner's Rendezvous, a big parade, live music. But what makes this very interesting is that it is the largest horse ride in Wisconsin. And that's pretty amazing for the community that it's hosted in. Caroline. My hometown is Caroline, Wisconsin. It's about halfway in between Green Bay and Wausau, so if you look at a map, look about halfway in between them, you'll find it. And it's not a very big community. It's only about 270 people, I believe, is the last census count for the non-incorporated city, village, community that it is. And I just think it's a wonderful experience that needs to get a little more attention out there. So let me tell you a little bit about the history. Why did this event come to be? Well, you have to understand that when the event was created and was hosted for the first time in 1989, the 80s were not a very good years for the Caroline area. The grocery store that had been there for years closed down. Farm implement business moved out to a bigger location. A grain mill closed down. A cheese factory closed down. The elementary school in the community shut down and was consolidated into the school district that it was a part of. So basically, Caroline was more or less dying. But the citizens weren't going to do that. They weren't just going to sit by idly and let that happen. So, in 1988, they formed the Caroline Community Development Corporation. And they came up with several goals. One, get back some sort of grocery store or business that people can buy stuff from, like a grocery store, so they got that. Have some businesses try to start up in the area, and they have done that from time to time. But the big attraction was to have some sort of attraction that would bring people in, tourism, trying to get people to come to Caroline once a year. And the winning selection was the Caroline Lions. They came up with the idea for the trail ride, so they selected that, and in 1989, they hosted their first Colorama. Now, it started off small, a couple hundred people and their horses came by, enjoyed the wonderful scenery that is around here. But the best part is that it grew. People got word of it, more people started to show up, and eventually, by the late 90s, about by its 10th year, it had become the biggest trail ride in Wisconsin. Now, at its tops, it's been around 1,500 people and their horses stopping by this community of 250-odd people for one weekend to check out this event. I mean, you're talking about increasing the population at least 6 times, 5 times, 6 times more. So it blows my mind knowing that it can be done this way. And I think there are a couple of things that really make this attraction something that people want to see. And one is the weather. It's early fall, the summer heat is gone, the winter cool and the colder temperatures aren't coming yet, and the leaves, the color of the fall trees is normally right around peak. So you're guaranteed, even if it isn't, sunny, maybe a little wet, maybe a little windy, you're going to see a beautiful country landscape. I would not say it maybe challenges those that you may have heard, the stereotypical New England fall colors, but we do a nice job here in Wisconsin. And the other thing that I think that gets a lot of people's attention is how the entire community comes together for this event. I mean, area churches get together to hold a bake sale. The 4-H Club, which I was a member of for many years, does a couple of things. Every other year we do the Midway Trail Ride food stand in the area. The Caroline Lions do a lot of work. All the other service groups in and around Caroline do some work in the area, and really just shows how nice people can be. The one thing, though, that I want to share in this comment is basically there isn't I don't think a lot of outside attention given to this event. I mean, yes, we have a weekly newspaper, the Marion Advertiser, that does a nice job, a semi-daily newspaper, the Channel Leader, that does a nice job, a couple of the local radio stations that I'm actually an employee of, the full market area. Not specifically those, but the ownership is the same for the ones that I work here in Anago. They do a nice job covering the event as well. But I'm talking the local television stations. I mean, typically, if you have a local event like the Caroline Colorama, you can really make it big if you have those local television stations in the area do a nice story on it. And it's kind of interesting because where Caroline is located, like I said, halfway between Wausau and Green Bay, I mean, both stations in those two markets could easily do this event. But in all the years that I've really been paying attention, they really don't. And I'm just very surprised by that because working as a journalist at a local radio station, weekend news can sometimes be the toughest days to cover because you don't have all the hustle and bustle of like a weekday events, all the court hearings that happen Monday through Friday, all the school events that happen other than sports, all the different accidents. There seems to be always a few more during the weekdays than the weekends. So when you have an event like the Caroline Colorama, you could easily spend a couple minutes doing a nice feature story on it. But I don't think I've actually seen a television station cover it as much as I thought they would. Maybe that will change. Maybe something will happen, and maybe in the next few years somebody will get attention, especially since next year, 2013, will be the 25th year of the Colorama. So definitely something to keep in mind. So those are my thoughts on the Caroline Colorama. Wanted to share them with you. Maybe spark your interest if you are a horse lover. And who knows, maybe next year you'll see me around there. So that's going to do it for this vlog update. Again, thank you for watching, and don't be afraid to comment. Keep it clean, though. That's all that I ask. And keep watching for some more. So, till later, everyone.